This photo is of the Cincinnati crawler. It was taken by a family who caught him in their home in 1974, but he escaped shortly afterwards. So in 1974, the Johnson family in Cincinnati noticed a couple weird things happening in their home. The 14-year-old daughter, Claire, would complain about seeing glowing eyes outside of her window at night. And then one night, the youngest son, Timmy, was laying in bed in the dark when he felt the family dog jump up onto his bed. But when he went to go pet it, it was not the dog. It was the crawler, who police still believe was responsible for the disappearance of 4 other boys in the area. Some believe that he was an escaped convict, while others actually believe that he was the victim of human experiments happening in the area that may have been conducted by the family's dad. Claire snapped this photo of him before he escaped, but he was never found since.
Just imagine capturing this on your Ring camera. It was 2018 and just outside of her condo in Phoenix, Arizona when Jessica Catania got an alert on her phone and saw this. According to her eventual statement, she immediately realizes she's in danger. She locks her bedroom door, she starts dialing 911, but that's when she heard it. So whoever this man was, he then pries open the living room window and pops out the screen. He's in the house. But this woman, Jessica, she's like incredibly resourceful in a stressful situation. She immediately grabbed a hammer, any weapon that she could find from her closet, and she hides in her bathroom. But while she's waiting in there, she's got the door locked, but it would only be about 3 minutes before she eventually hears police inside her condo. But the problem is, they never found the man. To this day, she has no idea who this man was or why he broke into her condo. In the investigation, police would eventually nickname him Smiles.
What I'm about to show you is the photo Katrina Whalen captured on her Ring camera the other night. So Katrina lives alone down a long country road in West Texas. And 3 nights ago, she invited a friend over for dinner at 7 p.m. But 7 rolls around and her friend's not there. And then 8 rolls around and her friend is still not there. And that's when Katrina starts to hear footsteps outside. Slow at first, but then it starts to sound like someone is running full speed at her house. Thinking it's her friend, she goes to open the door, but no one is there. So Katrina calls her friend, but then when the other line picks up, it's just heavy breathing. And then laughing. She's really freaked out now, so she runs upstairs, but that's when she gets the notification that someone is at her front door. And this was that someone. Katrina is still alive to tell the tale, but there's been an uptick in Reddit users complaining in West Texas of hearing someone outside and then answering the door to see no one is there.
People who almost died. This is Morgan Jade.
Blake was crossing the Chesapeake Bay Bridge at around 8:30 on Friday night when she spotted an 18-wheeler speeding towards her. The truck slammed into her 2007 Chrysler Sebring twice, crashing it into the bridge's concrete barrier, then knocking it onto the wall, where it teetered briefly before falling into the water 27 feet below. Blake told the Washington Post that she started to panic as water flowed into her car, but then became calm. She unbuckled her seatbelt and pushed herself out through the car's broken window. After swimming to the surface, she headed to one of the bridge's supports, where a boater found her and helped her until rescuers arrived.
Actual photo of the bridge. Actual photo of the scene. Actual photo of the car.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested. The 17-year-old who took this photo told his family members that he planned to hike the stairway to heaven. He texted multiple pictures before his disappearance, and shortly after, the family noticed a man in this photo. While this photo may seem like an ordinary picture of footprints in the sand, they actually belong to a 4-year-old little girl who shortly after this photo was taken, drowned in the ocean. The 2 brothers in this photo are at Sequoia National Park. This photo was taken moments before they were both struck by lightning, and both shockingly survived. There was a tradition in Victorian England to take photos of dead people, often dressed in their best clothes, and pose as if they were taking a family portrait. If you look at this photo for long enough, you will notice something is a little off about one of the children. The man who took this photo of his wife scuba diving off the Australian coast also managed to take a photo of Tina Watson, who was drowned by her husband that day in 2003.
This experiment turned this woman into a monster. During World War II, there was a rumor that the Germans were on the edge of developing super troops, which could be used in the war. This would cause other governments to also try to make super soldiers. But because the experiment was very dangerous, no one wanted to be a lab rat. However, Albert Western, one of the leading scientists, offered his daughter Abigail for the terrible experiment. When the experiment began, it went downhill fast. Her bone structure began to change rapidly, and her hair fell out. She went completely insane shortly after that. Her father still had some hope that the project would work, but it didn't. He could not take it, so he ended his own life. The other scientists tried to get rid of Abigail and tried to starve her in her cell, but she got out and attacked the guards. It is said that she escaped, and no one knows where she went, and that is how.
You guys heard of the Night Lady? This all started in Chihuahua, Mexico, 2009. Residents started noticing something really disturbing. You see, now some of the children in the area were going missing. I gotta grab some food for this one. Look at this beautiful roll. Now with all the children around the area going missing, people started reporting seeing a woman. They said she would climb on the rooftops during the day, only to wait till night to sneak in through the window to snatch children. Police then sketched an image of what they believed to be the Night Lady. Only one child has been reported of actually escaping the Night Lady. You see, his parents had ran into the room and caught her just in time. She quickly then escaped and crawled out of the window. Wait, before I continue, let's say the Night Lady had taken you. Your third act has to come and save you. Who is it? Let me know who it is. Anyways, the kid that got away recounted waking up in the middle of the night and seeing the Night Lady standing over top of him just watching him. People have brushed this off as just one big hoax until after midnight, a teenage girl had captured this photo. This is supposedly the Night Lady.
The urban legend goes that this college-age girl lived in a dorm with her best friend. So there was this big party going on. She invited her roommate, like, hey, there's this huge party going on. Her roommate was like, I'm not going. Like, I got too much I gotta do. I need to study. I got a test tomorrow. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So she kept trying to convince her, and then eventually she was just like, okay, I'm gonna go to the party. I'll come back. I'll see you. We'll kick it, whatever, right? Yeah. And she goes out, has the time of her life, whatever, comes back home. It's really late, and all of the lights are off at the apartment. But when she gets there, the door is unlocked. She always locks them. Maybe she just forgot. She walks in, all the lights are off. She almost went to her room, but then she was like, nah, it's late. I'm gonna just let her sleep. So she goes to bed, right? She wakes up the next morning. She didn't hear her roommate. And she was like, like, that's weird. She said she had a test and she needed to study. So she goes out. All of the lights are still off. Like, everything looks exactly how it did last night, right? Okay, now she's starting to get creeped out, right? Yeah. So then she goes into her roommate's room. She doesn't see her. And she sees blood everywhere. And written on the mirror in blood says,
How can I help you? This is, my name is James.
As you can see, the man is acting very strange and almost doesn't know how to answer his questions. When the homeowner asks who he is looking for, pay attention to the name he gives.
Sosa. Sammy?
He first says Sosa, then he says Sammy, like Sammy Sosa, the baseball player. It was likely the first name he could come up with on the spot for a fake friend he was looking for. The homeowner then threatens the man to leave.
What's your name?
James.
And who are you looking for?
A friend of mine.
No friend of yours lives here, buddy, and I got a Glock over here ready for you. So if you don't get the f off my porch, I'm gonna unload it on your face. Get the f off my porch.
The reason why he was trying to get inside the house is unknown. No one knows what could have happened if the man would have let him inside. The homeowner handled the situation the correct way by talking to the man through the locked and closed door via the Ring doorbell camera. And once he noticed the man's strange and suspicious behavior, he threatened him to leave.
Most terrifying demonic activity ever caught on camera.
Bobby, is that you? Bobby. I get it. I get it, man. Just gonna stare at each other for like, what? You got me. I don't know what the fuck their problem is. I'm gonna keep doing this shit. I'm just gonna stare at him then. Fuck it, right? Man. Come on, get out, man. Get out. Come on. Go. Just go to your room. It's fine. thing, of course. All right. Yeah. I know, Dizzy. You got me. Jim, you got me. You got me, man. You got... Okay, it's good. And just stay in your room.
I'm not necessarily saying that the dude who gave her those swords and these other pictures I'm about to show y'all is a result of cannibalism.
But I sure as shit am, okay? This is a secondhand story, but I've kept it in my heart and soul since like 2013, 2014. I was in high school, right? Okay, this is a story. And my English teacher at the time, wonderful lady, don't remember her name, she was short, had blonde bob, wore cute clothes. Anyway, she told us a story about when she was in college and her and her friends were at spring break in Florida, right? One of her friends ended up, dancing with this guy, whatever, making out, and he was trying desperately to get her to come to his place. Like, he had tried on several different occasions that night to get her to go to his house, but all of her friends, including my teacher, were like, no, we literally have a flight in the morning, like, if you leave, you're not gonna make it back with us. So she was like, okay, whatever, and eventually she got him off her back. She ended up developing the same kind of sores on her face, went to the dermatologist, and then was greeted with the police once the results came back. They asked her to come to the station, she did. They were like, hey, by chance, do you know anyone who eats human flesh, or do you by chance? She was like, definitely not. That's weird. And they were like, oh, okay. So, have you been in contact with anybody who might? And she was like, well, the only person that has been on my face recently was this guy at a bar, right? So they give him a description, and they end up going through the security cameras of that bar, find this guy, and then they find his house. They show up there. This man has 3 different women in freezers in his basement in various reasons of decay and dismemberment because he has been eating them. Yes, they walk among us.
So I have a scary story time that I highly don't recommend for you to play out in the open. Put your AirPods in, put your headphones, whatever you have to do. Just don't have this playing because it is very dark and you may call upon something you may not want in your space. The person who submitted this wishes to remain anonymous. For the sake of the story, we're going to call her Nelly. So this story took place about 2 years ago, right at the peak of pandemic time. Right around that time, Nelly and her son would wake up with scratches all over them. The scratches would always come in 3s. They would also hear knocking at night that also came in 3s. You guys all know what the 3 means. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This is the D word mocking the Trinity. They then start hearing voices and footsteps coming from upstairs while they were downstairs home alone. The final straw was when Nelly's son told her there was a painting on the wall that was moving, so she decided to take it down, only to turn around and find that same painting set in the middle of the room with her sweater balled right on top of it. At this point, she decided to get some professional help and reached out to some paranormal investigators. At first, they came to her home to interview her to make sure that she wasn't having a mental breakdown and also to try to debunk some of her claims. After they were assured that she was perfectly fine, they decided to set up an investigation. They told her that they would be back within 2 days. In those 2 days from the time the investigators visited the home, the activity in the house amped up drastically. The morning that the investigators were set to arrive, Nelly decided to drop her son off at the babysitter's house. Now, anytime Nelly spent time at that house, she always had background noise playing because she was always afraid of what she may hear. Being that they were getting ready to leave, everything was off in the house, and as Nelly was upstairs just finishing up with getting ready, she hears a woman's voice talking to her son downstairs. She yells down to her son and asks him who he's talking to, when she clearly hears a woman's voice say, "Don't tell her." Immediately, Nelly ran downstairs and went to grab her son. Now, her son is normally a very calm and sweet boy, but the minute she picked him up and said it's time to go, he completely lost it and had the biggest tantrum of his life. She practically had to fight to get him into the car. His arms kept wailing. He kept trying to do everything in his power to prevent from leaving the house. Finally, Nellie had to set him down. The minute she set him down, he ran to the garden and picked up a flower. And in the creepiest voice possible, he said, "We have some visitors coming. I have a gift for them." Nellie felt sick to her stomach. She picked him up and put him in the car. When they were about 30 seconds down the road, it was almost like he snapped out of a trance and he went back to his normal self. They both ended up going out to eat. When they were out, Nellie's son did not mention anything about what had just happened. But unfortunately, in the craziness of trying to get her son out, she realized she forgot her overnight bag, which meant that she would have to go back to the house. Now I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because TikTok took away my 10-minute long videos, so I'll post this right after this.
And curtain number 1 is correct.
Wait. You don't remember what she looks like?
We ran out of this house, ran for our lives, and this is the story time as to why we had to do that. So a lot of you guys know from watching my Instagram what's been going on, but if you don't know, my house is haunted, and I know that sounds crazy. If you don't believe in this stuff, that's totally fine. I wouldn't come on and embarrass myself this much if stuff wasn't happening and if I didn't genuinely believe that the house is haunted. So that's just a little disclaimer. I don't even know where to start with this, but I'll go back to when we moved in. It always felt a little bit strange, but it's an old house, you know. We're like, you know, it's an old house, fine. But then, like, sounds and stuff started happening. We also have a dog and a cat. Could have been them. And it absolutely wasn't. And as time went on and on and on, stuff started happening more and more and more. Like, just really subtle stuff, like, you would swear someone was walking around upstairs, you would swear there was someone in the room with you, like, just stuff like that. But anyway, I don't want to have to be making loads of parts, so I'm just going to skip in a little bit. So we went on holiday for a week, about a week and a half ago. And when we came back, it's as if, like, it took over the house. That wasn't our house anymore. That was not our house anymore. And that's when stuff actually started to happen. And, like, we were adamant, you know, it wasn't the dogs. I'm just going to do a quick things that were happening. Flickering lights, knocking on windows and mirrors, stomping up the stairs right up to our bedroom door, muffled sounds in our ears. We would hear whistling in our ears, and all the rest. So we decided to go to a clairvoyant to see could they sense anything, and they did. Side note, when we moved into that house, there was not one mirror on the wall. They were gone. But anyway, we went to a clairvoyant and he told us that there's something there that shouldn't be there. And he told us what he was kind of doing, and he was right. And he said he's just messing with us. He doesn't want to hurt us, but if it came to it, he would throw us downstairs. And that was his exact words. And the most creepiest feeling in the house is at the top of that landing. I'm actually going to show you what it looks like. It's awful. But anyway, he told us whatever, and he told us to stay to the place. And we did. And I wish we didn't. It got so much worse. And we ran, we left all the lights on. I didn't even get to grab my dog. But we also found out that this has happened before to previous people, and the landlord knew. Come back for part 2.